estate planning in Massachusetts without the fluff. My name is Jill. I'm an estate planning attorney, and I've seen what happens when no one is in charge. This series isn't about documents. It's about control, clarity, and preventing families from learning the hard lessons in probate court. Because probate doesn't care what you meant to do. Most people think estate planning is about what happens when you die. That misunderstanding is exactly why families end up in crisis. Estate planning is not about death. It's about control. It's about who makes decisions when you can't. Because the moments that cause the most damage don't usually start with death. They start with incapacity, an accident, an illness, a diagnosis that changes everything. And when there's no plan, the court steps in. Not because the court wants to, but because no one else was given authority. This is the part people don't like to think about. If you're alive and you can't speak for yourself and no one has legal authority, your family doesn't get to just handle it. They don't get to just decide what happens next. They have to ask permission from the court. I see families every day who thought they had more time. What they really had was a false sense of security. They assumed someone would step in. They assumed it would be simple. They assumed love would be enough. Love is not legal authority, and probate doesn't care about good intentions. Estate planning is deciding now who speaks for you later, who manages your finances, who makes medical decisions, who steps in before everything becomes public, expensive, and slow. Because once the court's involved, control is already gone. The court decides who has authority. The court decides what information becomes public. The court decides how long things take. And your family is left reacting instead of leading. This is why I say estate planning isn't about death. It's about responsibility. It's about saying, I'm not going to leave this to chance. It's about protecting your family from unnecessary stress at the worst possible time. Most people tell themselves they'll get around to it later. Later feels safer. Later feels easier. Later feels like control. But later is not guaranteed. And later is often too late. I don't say this to scare people. I say it because I've seen what happens when no one is in charge. Confusion, delay, conflict, pain that could have been avoided with a clear decisions made ahead of time. Estate planning isn't morbid. It is not pessimistic. It's practical, it's calm, and it's a gift of clarity to the people you love most. The truth is, probate doesn't care how busy you are. Probate doesn't care how close your family is. Probate doesn't care that you meant to do something eventually. Probate only shows up when no one planned. My goal is simple. I want people to understand what actually happens when there is no plan, and more importantly, how to prevent it. You don't need to do everything today. You don't need to have a perfect plan. You just need to stop pretending that this doesn't matter. Estate planning isn't about death. It's about control and deciding before someone else has to decide for you.